I'm gonna give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
Utah Valley University campus in Orem, Utah. A normal autumn day that became a turning point in American history. Charlie Kirk is speaking at the first event of his American Comeback Tour season on the university campus. He's in the middle of a heated debate with students at his signature Prove Me Wrong table, his famous trademark. And then, at exactly 12:30 p.m., a single shot from approximately 2 football fields away, hitting Charlie Kirk in the neck. The founder of Turning Point USA died instantly on the spot and immediately shook the entire United States. President Donald Trump confirmed on social media the great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead, 1 shot, 1 death, and the question haunting the nation, who did this and why? Charles James Kirk, 31 years old. The face of America's young conservative movement, founded Turning Point USA at age 18, the Charlie Kirk Show podcast with millions of listeners, a person who influenced an entire generation of young Americans. But Kirk was also the most controversial figure. Supporters called him a freedom fighter, but opponents called him a hate instigator. It was precisely this polarization that created the terrifying question, could political division go to the extent of murder? The answer was written in blood on the Utah Valley University stage. Utah Valley University, Utah's largest public university with over 40,000 students. No one knew that the Orem campus was about to become the scene of the most shocking political assassination of the 21st century. Charlie Kirk's American Comeback Tour event, announced on August 27th, had chosen Utah Valley as its starting point, a fateful decision that would change American history. Early morning of September 10, 2025, the preparation team was busy setting up an outdoor stage near the Losey Center building. The signature Prove Me Wrong table, where Kirk had challenged thousands of students to debate across America, was placed in the center position. Tension had already existed in the days before when there was a petition calling to prevent Kirk from speaking, but the administration still decided to allow the event to proceed. At 11:52 a.m., according to the Utah Department of Public Safety, an important detail occurred that no one noticed at the time. Security cameras captured a young man walking through campus carrying an unusually large backpack. He moved purposefully, unlike other students who were strolling or preparing to attend the event. This was Tyler Robinson, and in that backpack was the gun that would change American history forever. At exactly 12 p.m., the event officially began. An impressive scene. An estimated 3,000 attendees, the largest number ever for a Kirk event in Utah. Students from everywhere flocked in, forming a circle around the Prove Me Wrong table. Some carried supporting signs with America First messages, others showed clear opposition with contrasting slogans. The atmosphere heated up by the minute, but still remained within controllable limits. Kirk appeared on time, wearing the signature shirt of the brand he founded. Before entering the discussion, he enthusiastically distributed branded hats with obvious pride. His voice was confident and sharp as always when welcoming the crowd. Applause and cheers rang out, mixed between support and opposition. 12:03 p.m., Kirk began the first Q&A session. A sophomore political science student asked about immigration policy. Kirk responded in detail, citing statistics in the familiar tone that millions of his podcast listeners knew. Live stream cameras captured everything, broadcasting directly to tens of thousands of viewers worldwide. But what Charlie Kirk didn't know, what none of the 3,000 people present knew, was that at the same time, about 200 yards away, on the roof of the 4-story Losey Center building, a dark figure was preparing to execute a plan that had been brewing for months. Tyler Robinson had climbed to the perfect sniper position where he had a clear view down to the stage without obstruction. The gun had been loaded beforehand. The scope was calibrated precisely to the millimeter. Everything was ready. 12:20 p.m. KIRK was still answering the fifth question, this time about gun ownership, a topic he had debated thousands of times before. On the rooftop, Robinson's finger was already on the trigger. The moment he had waited for over the past 2 years was approaching. 12:22 p.m. The final minute of Charlie Kirk's life. He had just finished answering about the Second Amendment, laughing lightly at a student's joke. Utah sunlight shone down on campus, casting long shadows from the old oak trees. And then, at 12:23 p.m. on September 10th, 2025, American history was turned upside down. 12:23:15 p.m. Charlie Kirk was beginning his answer to the sixth student, a question about border policy that he had answered thousands of times throughout his career. 12:23:32 p.m. A single shot from 200 yards away rang out like thunder. The bullet traveled through space in just 0.3 seconds, a brief moment, but enough to divide American history in half. It hit Kirk's neck with the precision of a professionally trained sniper. Kirk stopped speaking mid-sentence. His hand dropped the microphone, his body leaned backward. Blood began flowing on his white t-shirt, creating a bright red streak on the pristine white stage. For a brief second, time seemed to stand still. Then hell broke loose. 3,000 students simultaneously realized what had happened. Screams, cries, the sound of feet running chaotically in all directions created a horrifying symphony. People trampled each other in panic, falling, crawling, running without direction. White plastic chairs fell like dominoes. Signs were scattered everywhere. There were even those who took advantage of the chaos to jump over barriers and pick up the hats Charlie had prepared to give to everyone after the discussion. 2 security personnel, James Morrison and Sarah Chen, rushed to the stage within 8 seconds. They were trained for this situation, but nothing could prepare them for the scene before them. Kirk lay on his back, eyes wide open, looking up at the deep blue Utah sky, blood forming a red pool around his head. Morrison checked for a pulse. None. Chen called for emergency services over radio, but both knew it was too late. (12:26:00). On the Losey Center roof, Robinson had vanished, leaving only the gun and clues that would lead to his capture. 31 years old, 1 life, 1 shot, and America would never be the same again. Just 3 minutes after Kirk fell, the largest manhunt in Utah history officially began. FBI announces $100,000 reward as hunt for shooter intensifies, seeks public help, but the killer had 3 precious minutes to escape and he used them calculatedly. UVU security cameras captured Robinson jumping from the Losey Center building roof to the ground, a 4-meter jump that he executed skillfully as if he had practiced many times. Without hesitation, he ran straight toward the small forest area north of campus, a densely wooded area he had clearly scouted beforehand. Within 7 minutes, the manhunt had mobilized FBI Salt Lake City field office, 200 agents deployed, including the hostage rescue team Utah County Sheriff, all 150 deputies present, Utah State Police, 75 troopers from across the state, ATF Specialist Team for Ammunition and Weapons Analysis, Utah National Guard, 500 soldiers supporting lockdown and search operations. Utah had never witnessed a manhunt of this scale, but Robinson was smarter than they thought. In the forest, about 200 meters from where he jumped down, the search team discovered the abandoned backpack and rifle. This was not the action of a panicked person, but a carefully calculated plan. Robinson knew that carrying the gun would make him easily detectable, So he eliminated the most important evidence. Evidence collected at the scene. The rifle, a Remington 700 with professional scope, legally purchased at Sportsman's Warehouse in Salt Lake City 3 months prior. DNA traces on the gun, scope and losi center, roof, size 10 shoe prints, clear footprints of Nike Air, Max shoes on the roof. 6 p.m. FBI forensic analysis team identified the individual through fingerprints on the shell casing. Name: Tyler James Robinson, 22 years old, University of Utah student. 6 a.m. September 11. SWAT team surrounded the apartment at 4750 South Highland Drive. Searching the residence, they discovered a frightening treasure trove of evidence, a 200-page journal detailing the assassination plan, UVU maps with marked sniper positions, and dozens of KIRK videos analyzed to study his habits. 10 p.m. September 11th, 2025. Utah County Sheriff's Office, Spanish Fork Center. After 33 hours of pursuit, Robinson calmly walked into the police station, as Sheriff Mike Smith described, without resistance, without screaming, without any dramatic scenes. He simply put his hands behind his back for the handcuffs, as if he had accepted his fate long ago. This wasn't the action of a madman or someone who had lost control. This was the action of someone who had calculated everything, including the consequences. But who was Tyler Robinson really? This question became America's obsession in the days following the assassination. Robinson was born and raised in Draper, Utah, a peaceful small town 30 minutes drive from Salt Lake City. 22 years old, 5 feet 9 inches, 150 pounds, brown hair, blue eyes, a youthful face that anyone could encounter on the street. Nothing special, nothing that would indicate this was the person who had changed American history just 33 hours earlier. A typical American middle-class family, Father David Robinson, 54, a software engineer at Goldman Sachs, Mother Margaret Robinson, 51, a retired elementary school teacher who left work early to care for the family. Both were loyal members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Mormon, registered Republicans since they were old enough to vote. The Robinson family lived in a 2-story house at 1247 East Draper Ridge Drive, in a safe neighborhood where children played in the streets and neighbors greeted each other every morning. From the outside, this was the perfect family of the American dream. What surprised people most about Robinson wasn't the violent behavior, but rather his perfect record before this. A senior computer science student at the University of Utah with a 3.8 GPA in the top 15% of his class. No history of violence, no criminal record, not even a traffic ticket. But behind the facade of a model student, Tyler Robinson was nurturing a dangerous obsession. The investigation after his arrest revealed a terrifying picture of the gradual radicalization of a young man. For the past 2 years, Robinson had followed KIRK on every social media platform. Analysis of Robinson's electronic devices after his arrest revealed a terrifying picture of his radicalization. Robinson's Discord messages with his roommate revealed a terrifyingly detailed plan. Robinson's message sent to his roommate still gives police chills when they review it. In just 30 months from an ordinary young man, he had transformed into a political assassin with meticulous planning and deep hatred. And the most frightening thing is, Robinson isn't the only case. In an America that is deeply divided, how many more young people like him are being silently radicalized in their own rooms? Why did Tyler Robinson kill Charlie Kirk? This isn't just a question for a criminal case, but a question about the soul of America in 2025, about how a society can become so divided that a 22-year-old is willing to kill over political views. Dr. Michael Jang, an expert on radicalization at Stanford University, explained, Robinson exhibits the typical radicalization pattern of the social media age: social isolation, online echo chambers, and turning political targets into existential enemies. In Robinson's mind, Charlie Kirk wasn't just someone with different views, he was a threat to the existence of the justice that Robinson believed in. Deeper analysis of Robinson's motives revealed a complex belief system. After dropping out of university, Robinson had no stable job, no girlfriend, and had cut off almost all social relationships. He lived in his own echo chamber, only interacting with people who shared his extreme views online. Born into a conservative Mormon family, Robinson felt alienated from family values and found a new identity in far-left politics, an identity defined entirely by opposition to his family and community. Robinson didn't see killing Kirk as murder, but as a heroic act to save the country. Discord messages he wrote, "Sometimes one person must sacrifice everything to save many." Digital culture expert Jamie Cohen analyzed, Robinson consumed a diet of extreme content for 2 years. Video games like Wolfenstein with themes of killing Nazis, Italian punk rock music with lyrics about killing fascists, and memes from far-left forums. This wasn't random consumption, this was systematic indoctrination. One of Robinson's most revealing Discord messages, sent 3 days before the assassination, watched Kirk's latest video about LGBTQ+ rights, 47 minutes of pure hatred disguised as traditional values. How many children will commit suicide because they believe what he says? How many families will be destroyed? I can't just stand by anymore. Direct action is the only moral choice left. Dr. Lisa Park, expert on political violence at UC Berkeley, Robinson underwent a complete dehumanization process of Charlie Kirk. In his mind, Kirk was no longer a person, he was a symbol of evil, a tumor that needed to be removed. When you dehumanize a target like that, violence becomes a rational solution. Analysis of the notebook found in Robinson's room showed he had constructed a complex ideology in a 23-page handwritten manifesto titled Kirk's Doctrine of Hate. The final passage of the manifesto, "History will judge whether I am a hero or villain. But I know this. Every day Kirk spreads his message, young people suffer. LGBTQ+ children contemplate suicide. Immigrant families live in fear. Democracy dies a little. If my action saves even one life, if it prevents even one family from being destroyed by his hatred, then I have done the right thing." Robinson killed Charlie Kirk not because he was a psychological maniac, but because he believed he was a hero. That's the most frightening thing. When politics becomes religion, when disagreement becomes holy war, then murder becomes sacrifice for the cause. And that's why September 10th, 2025 wasn't just the day Charlie Kirk died, it was the day America realized we had gone too far. September 16th, 2025. Utah County Court in Provo. Tyler Robinson appeared in court for the first time online from Utah County Jail, where he is being held without bail. The scene in the courtroom, Robinson sat before the camera in prison uniform. His face was completely calm, no signs of remorse, no emotion. This was the first time the public had seen Charlie Kirk's killer since his arrest. Robinson faces multiple serious charges related to the assassination of Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University. The charges include aggravated murder and firearms-related offenses. Prosecutors officially announced they will seek the death penalty, in this case a strong statement showing the severity with which Utah's justice system views this political assassination. Robinson has not yet been appointed an attorney, as he has not completed the necessary legal procedures. He is being held without bail at a Utah jail, a decision reflecting the level of danger the court assesses regarding the suspect. The next important hearing has been scheduled for September 29th, 2025 at 10 a.m. This will be the preliminary hearing, a critically important preliminary hearing. In this session, prosecutors will have to present evidence to prove they have sufficient legal basis to proceed with a formal trial. The judge will decide whether the charges are strong enough to bring Robinson to trial. Prosecutors have pledged they will be thorough and cautious at every stage. This reflects the importance of the case and the pressure the justice system is facing. According to legal experts, the case is beginning the long road to trial. The exact timeline for the trial remains largely unpublicized, but experts predict the process could last many months. The big question is not whether Tyler Robinson is guilty or not. The real question is, in a deeply divided America, can any verdict satisfy everyone? Can the justice system maintain neutrality in such a highly political case? Currently, Tyler Robinson sits in his cell, waiting for the American justice system to decide his fate. Charlie Kirk has died, leaving behind a controversial legacy and a divided nation. Justice will be served, that is certain. But can it heal the deep wounds that this assassination has inflicted on America? Can it prevent future Tyler Robinsons? Those are questions that only time can answer. The case created a political earthquake in Washington, D.C. Vice President J.D. Vance personally hosted the Charlie Kirk Show to continue Charlie's mission, unprecedented for a vice president to directly participate in commemorating a victim like this. Meanwhile, Charlie Kirk's death created a tsunami across America with serious consequences. Immediately after the incident, Utah Valley University closed and reopened 1 week later. Many teachers and staff nationwide were fired or disciplined for social media posts mocking or celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, and protests and vigils took place in several cities. In the first week, Russia, China, and Iran spread disinformation, while hashtags Justice for Kirk and Robinson is Hero simultaneously trended, showing deep division in public opinion. Outside the courthouse, hundreds of protesters split into two distinct camps. American public opinion is deeply divided over this case, with some calling for the death penalty for Robinson, others supporting life imprisonment, and a small group believing he needs psychological treatment rather than harsh punishment. However, public reaction may be divided along partisan lines, with conservatives tending to support harsher punishments, while liberals may lean toward alternative sentences or focus on psychological treatment. This case raises burning questions about the boundary between political disagreement and violence, whether social media promotes extremism, and how to protect free speech while preventing hate speech. The alarming thing is that a 22-year-old turned political disagreement into violence. When politics becomes religion, when opposing views become enmity, the question is how many other Tyler Robinsons are out there. Robinson wasn't a spontaneous madman, but an intelligent, planning young man who turned political disagreement into premeditated murder. Today, Tyler Robinson sits in a death row cell. Charlie Kirk lies in the ground. America is still healing its wounds, but the deepest wounds aren't what we can see. September 10th, 2025 has become a dark day in American history, not because one person died, but because of how he died. Tyler Robinson's trial will not only decide the fate of a 22-year-old killer, but also shape how America handles political violence in an age of division. The whole country will watch, the whole world will judge, and history will remember not just the verdict, but how we arrived at that verdict. One gunshot proved that in America in 2025, politics can kill. Charlie Kirk once said, "Ideas have power." He was right in the most brutal way. The final question the whole country is waiting for and fearing the answer to is, in a country where ideas can kill, how many more gunshots will ring out? Justice delayed is justice denied, but in this case, justice itself has become a political battlefield. And that is perhaps the greatest tragedy of all. In memory of Charlie Kirk, 1993 to 2025, victim of our times. Comment below the video. If this story was helpful, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share with those who need to know.